This is a DION beat, so you know it's hot.
The Hightails, Sweet Cheetah music. The Hightails.
Do you remember when we fell in love? We were young and innocent then. Do you remember how it all began? It just seemed like heaven. So why did it end? Do you remember that in the fall we'd be together all day long? Do you remember us holding hands in each other's eyes we'd stare? Tell me, do you remember the time when we fell in love? Do you remember the time when we first met, girl? Do you remember the time when we fell in love? Do you remember the time? Oh, the Hightails, Sweet Cheetah music. Do you remember how we used to talk? You know, we'd stay on the phone at night till dawn. Do you remember all the things we said? Like I love you so I'll never let you go. Do you remember back in the spring, every morning birds would sing? Do you remember those special times that just go on in the back of my mind? Do you remember the time when we fell in love? Do you remember the time we first met, girl? Do you remember the time when we fell in love? Do you remember the time? Ooh, the Hightails, Sweet Cheetah music. Those sweet memories will always be dear to me. And girl, no matter what was said, I will never forget what we had. Now, baby, do you remember the time when we fell in love? Do you remember the time we first met, girl? Go away. Do you remember the time? Remember, baby, when we fell in love? Do you remember the time? All in my mind, girl. Go away. Do you remember the time when we fell in love? Do you remember the time? Remember, my baby. Remember the time. The Hightails. Remember, girl. Remember the time on the phone, you and me. Remember the time till dawn, 2 or 3. What about us, girl? Remember, do you remember the time in the park, on the beach? Remember the time you and me in Spain? What about? Remember the time you in the park? Remember the time after dark? Do you remember the time? Do you remember the time? Do you remember the time? Sweet Cheetah music, it's the Hightails. Do you remember the time when we fell in love? Do you remember the time when we first met, girl? Do you remember the time when we fell in love? Do you remember the time? All in my mind, girl. Remember the time? Do you remember, girl? Remember the time on the phone, you and me. after dawn. Remember the time. Remember the time. The Hightails. The Hightails. Sweet Cheetah music. Serengeti gang in this time. Serengeti gang in this time. The Hightails.
This is a DION beat, so you know it's hot.